I'm Dr. Robert F. Mullen, and this is the fourth in our series of videos defining proactive neuroplasticity, illustrating the process of DRNI to accelerate the restructuring of our neural network. Now, in this video, we're going to illustrate the underappreciated benefits of positive personal affirmations and neural restructuring. And to understand the science of positive personal affirmations, or PPAs, we must understand proactive neuroplasticity and the deliberate repetitive neural input of information called DRNI. Now again, neuroplasticity is the scientific evidence of our brain's constant adaptation to information. Without plasticity, our human brain would be incapable of learning, our body incapable of sustaining life. Now, research has firmly established that our neural network is a dynamic organism, constantly modifying and rebuilding to each new input of information. It's how we embrace new experiences and learn new information and create new memories. And scientists refer to the process of neuroplasticity as structural remodeling of the brain. But what is exciting is that we can dramatically accelerate our brain's adaptability to new learning by deliberately compelling it to reconfigure and repattern its neural circuitry, proactively transforming our thoughts, behaviors, and perspectives, creating healthy new mindsets, skills, and abilities. So the importance of DRNI, or deliberate repetitive neural information, cannot be overstated. DRNI facilitates our capacity to compel proactive neuroplasticity, to personally manipulate and control our emotional well-being and quality of life. Our neural pathways are not fixed, but dynamic and malleable. Every input of information causes a receptor neuron to fire, transmitting electrical energy neuron to neuron and throughout the nervous system. How information comes in the form of sight, noises, experiences, phenomena, the prick of a needle, and so on. Anything and everything that impacts us, whether consciously or unconsciously. Information impacts a receptor cell, which relays it to a sensory neuron. At the same time, the information is algorithmically coded into positive or negative electrical energy. The sensory neuron fires the electrical energy to a terminal or postsynaptic cell, which forwards that information throughout the neural network. More relay neurons develop, and circuits realign and strengthen, causing a cellular chain reaction that engages millions of participating neurons. So proactive neuroplasticity is the most potent and effective means of neural restructuring. The deliberate repetition of positive personal affirmations is an effective and efficient method of proactive neuroplasticity, because the repeated input of positive information causes multiple receptor neurons to fire, dramatically accelerating and consolidating learning and unlearning. In the case of social anxiety and other disorders, it is the cognitive behavioral process of countering years of negative self-beliefs with positive constructive information. And it is the conduit to the successful pursuit of our goals and objectives. So let's focus now on positive personal affirmations. We drastically underestimate their significance and effectiveness because we don't understand the science behind them. And since adolescence, we've been inundated with the potential benefits of positive thinking by our parents and teachers and ministers and thousands of well-meaning websites. And familiarity does often tend to breed contempt or at least undermine the value of a concept. However, PPAs help us focus on our goals challenge our negative self-defeating beliefs, and reprogram our subconscious minds. PPAs are brief, individually focused statements that we repeat to ourselves to describe what and who we want to be. PPAs are rational, reasonable, possible, unconditional, problem or goal focused, brief, and first person present time. Rational. The objective is challenging the negative self-beliefs generated by dysfunction and life experiences. Reasonable, sensible, of sound judgment. Possible. If goals are impossible, efforts are counterproductive and pointless. Problem or goal focused. The path to an unknown destination is inconclusive and meandering. Unconditional. Independent of self-imposed restrictions. First person present time. The past is immutable, the future indeterminate but projectable. And brief, direct, and easily memorized. Think of PPAs, if you will, as aspirations or self-fulfilling prophecies, determinations of the person you want to be. Practicing positive personal affirmations is an extremely effective form of DRNI, or the deliberate, repetitive input of neural information that supports proactive neuroplasticity. Now let's talk about neural reciprocation. Our neural network reciprocates each neural input in abundance because every viable capture of information engages millions of neurons with their own energy transmission. See, our brain is an organic reciprocator. It codes our information into negative or positive electrical energy. And the energy of that information is reciprocated in abundance because a single neuron receptor engages millions of participating neurons, amplifying the energy on a massive scale. Multiple repetitions of positive information activate millions of neurons, reciprocating our positive energy input in abundance. Positive energy in, positive energy reciprocated in abundance. Conversely, negative energy in, negative energy reciprocated in abundance. The choice is clear. Now, our neural network consistently provides the natural neurotransmissions of life-affirming hormones. And it's important to understand our brain doesn't think. It provides the means for us to think, along with certain intangibles like advanced consciousness. So our brains function as the maintenance of our heartbeat, our nervous system, our blood flow, and so on. It tells us when to breathe, stimulates thirst, and controls our weight and digestion. But because our brain doesn't think, it's unable to distinguish healthy from toxic information. So the natural and constant neurotransmissions of pleasurable and motivational hormones happen whether we feed it self-destructive or constructive information. See, that's one of the reasons breaking a habit or keeping a resolution or achieving a desired goal is challenging, and why positive informational input is crucial for recovery and self-transformation. Of the 9 hormones most impactful to our emotional well-being and quality of life, 2 have a direct bearing on our levels of stress and anxiety that interfere with recovery and our pursuit of goals and objectives. Cortisol and adrenaline are the fear and anxiety provoking hormones. Positive personal affirmations assist in decreasing their productivity. We can also alleviate the toxicity of these hormones through progressive muscle relaxation, controlled breathing, coping skills, and other positive reinforcement approaches. But PPAs are an effective means of alleviating the detrimental effects of cortisol and adrenaline. The supportive hormones include GABA for relaxation, dopamine for pleasure and motivation, endorphins to elevate our mood, and serotonin for a sense of well-being. Acetylcholine supports our positivity, glutamate enhances our memory, and noradrenaline improves concentration. So positive information is rewarded by these neurotransmissions. Conversely, negative information is equally rewarded, so the choice should be obvious. Now, we also know that the deliberate repetition of PPAs initiates the power of suggestion. Now, it's theorized that 11 repetitions engage the power of suggestion. So if you're initiating the power of deliberate repetition, it's recommended that you repeat 3 consecutive PPAs 5 times, 3 times daily. And at a minimum, we are aggressively causing a sensory neuron to spark a neural chain reaction 45 times in one 24-hour period. That's credible compensation for our accumulated negativity. And it consumes roughly 3 minutes out of our day. Okay, we are also guided by the overarching rule of neuroplasticity and its direct relationship with the deliberate neural input of information, known as DRNI. The rule is this: neurons that fire together wire together. In other words, the more neurons communicate with one another, the stronger the connections. It's called Hebbian learning. The stronger the connection, the more neural reciprocation and hormonal support. Our neural circuits are like muscles. The more repetitions, the more flexible and powerful they become. The deliberate repetition of information correlates to more robust learning and unlearning. Proactive neuroplasticity through DRNI is the most potent and effective means of deliberate neural restructuring. It accelerates and consolidates learning and unlearning. It increases activity in the self-processing systems of the cortex, counteracting years of negative neural input via our automatic negative thoughts and behaviors. The increase in learning efficacy arises from the repeated and persistent stimulation generated by PPAs. This activates long-term potentiation, which increases the strength of the nerve impulses along the connecting pathways in our neural network, generating more energy. BDNF, or brain-derived neurotropic factors, are proteins that neurons need for survival. The deliberate, repetitive neural input of information generates higher levels of BDNF, which is associated with improved cognitive functioning, mental health, and memory. Now, the strongest and most effective PPAs are calculated and specific to our intention. So, are we challenging the core and intermediate negative beliefs that condition our behavior and negatively impact our self-esteem and motivation? Are we focused on a specific challenge? Are we embracing our character strengths, attributes, and virtues that support recovery and transformation? What is our end goal? The personal milestone we seek to achieve. Intention and content determine the integrity of information and its correlation to the durability and learning efficacy of the neural response. So, intention. How are we expediting our goals and objectives? What is our constructive plan of attack? If our goal is to become better educated, what are we going to study? What sources of information will we utilize? What character strengths do we emphasize? What deficits do we challenge? What is our plan to utilize these strengths or deficits? Content. What are the actual words that construct our neural information? The statement that addresses the context and intention of our goal. What is the best mode of delivery that will cause the receptor neuron to spark and engage the full range of positive neural response? Clarity on our intention expressed by correct content determines the integrity of information and its correlation to the durability and learning efficacy of the neural response. However, neural restructuring doesn't happen overnight. Recovery and achieving personal goals and objectives takes persistence, perseverance, and patience. Recovery remission from social anxiety and other disorders is a year or more in recovery, utilizing appropriate tools and techniques. However, once we begin the process of positive personal affirmations, the deliberate, repetitive neural input of information, and proactive neuroplasticity, progress is exponential. You can feel it. I'm Dr. Robert F. Mullen, and I thank you for your time.